Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kendrick here, and I am with Coach Erica, and this is the KM Fitness app challenge. And today, Erica is going to be going over some things like mobility and flexibility. She's going to tell us what's the difference between mobility and flexibility. But before Erica starts with her lecture, I want to ask Erica. So, Erica, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Erica, could you tell us a little bit about your education and your experience in this field?
Sure. So I have my bachelor's in exercise science and health promotion. After receiving that, I've done a couple different internships at a variety of sports performance places. Most recently, I work as a personal trainer at a country club. But the majority, while school gave me a really strong foundation, the majority of what I've learned has been working in the trenches and just studying my peers, people in the field who are way smarter than me, and from their years of experience. So kind of enjoyed being in the trenches and gaining some real world application that's way deeper than in college.
So I know we didn't talk about this before, but tell me some of the people that you kind of follow or you kind of you intern for, because I know you interned for some big name folks before.
Well, people who I study a lot, which are great resources for anybody. I mean, some of them are a little more sciencey, but for the most part, anybody can relate and understand. But Mike Boyle's a big one, Eric Cressy, Gray Cook, which a lot of what we'll talk about stems from ideas from a lot of those people. I did my internship for Todd Durkin, which was a number of years ago. But yeah, I studied a wide variety of people. There's a lot of very smart people in the field, not just in the realm of science, but also in the art of coaching and how to get through to people and motivate them. That goes a lot deeper than just the anatomy and physiology of training.
Right. So let's dig right into this. So let's talk about what is the difference between mobility and flexibility, flexibility.
Yeah, so the biggest difference is sometimes people will kind of use the terms interchangeably, but there's actually a pretty big difference between them. So flexibility, you can think of as a passive range of motion. So I'll give you an example. Somebody is stretching you and they can lift your leg up towards the ceiling. So they can stretch you really far. Whereas mobility is an active range of motion. So you have to have control over it yourself to be able to get there. So just because you have good flexibility doesn't necessarily mean that you have good mobility. You have to be able to tap into it. Because again, on your own, or someone might be able to help you get to a position, but on your own, you can't get there yourself.
Right. So with my field, which is like mixed martial arts. So when we talk about kicking and stuff like that, I can get my leg up, but you ask me to do a split, I can't do a split.
Yeah, or you can't, like some people will be like, I can't touch my toes on my own, but if I use a strap, I can pull my leg up really high.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a really basic way to describe it. So basically mobility is like a usable motion, or flexibility with strength and control, if that makes sense. Like you yourself can tap to the flexibility.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So how come some people, they stretch and stretch, but they still are not improving on their ability to, do certain movements? Tell me, why is that,
Question. So flexibility isn't always transferable. So if you're working on static stretching, right, that's typically how most people would work on their flexibility. Doesn't mean it's transferable into a functional movement. And the reason for that is basically you can think of two reasons why you might not have good movement. And that's either it's a software issue or a hardware issue. And I'll give credits to the thinking about it that way, to like Gray Cook, Charlie Weingraf. They have kind of talked about that a lot. But basically a hardware issue is an issue in the
And then-
bones,
Yes.
it might be the muscle, it might be a hereditary issue, it
Yeah.
might be from a previous injury, it might be fascial restrictions,
Mhm.
so something that you have on your body. So if
Let me stop you right there. So to help some people out, to break it down, if you have Quasimodo, who people know him as Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Yeah.
not going to fix his thoracic, extension, right? That's just anatomy.
yeah, if from years and years for posture, or maybe you're born that way, I don't know. But if it's a hardware issue, you won't be able to move the joint passively or actively. So you won't be able to move it with help or on your own. It is the way it is. Now, you might be able to work on that a little bit. If you go to a good manual therapist, they might be able to work on your fascia, your soft tissue a little bit to allow you to have greater flexibility, actually. You might be able to have surgery to change some things to allow you to move a little better. But that's not something, as a strength coach, as a personal trainer, that's not something we're gonna fix in your workout, most likely. We're gonna refer out to that. We're gonna send you to a physical therapist, a doctor, that's kind of out of our scope. And we're not gonna fix that by doing stretches and by doing corrective exercises, as some people call them. It is kind of how it is for that.
Yeah. So how about this? So how does stability allow you to allow for you to have greater mobility?
Hold on, you gotta let me explain what software is. I only explained half of the deal here.
Oh, you got more to go. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You have your hardware, which again, do you have the goods?
Right.
But then you have your software, which is, can you tap into those goods? Can you use what you have? Think of like a computer system. You may have the computer, but your software on that computer might not work.
Yes.
So that's into our nervous system. So if it's a software issue, you might be able to, again, get to the range of motion passively, but you can't get to it on your own actively.
Got you.
So this is what we can work on as personal trainers, as strength coaches. This is what you can work on with your warm-ups, with doing certain drills and exercises. So then when you go into your strength work, you have better mobility. So basically it comes down to two things. Either your hardware or your software is out of whack. That's not going to allow you to have.
So let me see if I got this right. So most of the time when me and you work together, I always tell you I need mobility and stability. So for instance, like my knee, like I know that I'm mobile, I can jump and stuff, but my body allows me to do a lot of different things, but my knee sucks. Is that a software issue?
Well, that's kind of hard to say, but because it could be a hardware issue. You could have damage to the joint. You could have, from years and years and years, it could be damage.
Okay.
But most people, I'll say, through my experience, especially a younger population, most of the time their limitations are why they feel so tight. Your initial question was, why can someone stretch and stretch and stretch and not see an improvement?
Yeah.
It's because it's a software issue. So they're working on their hardware by stretching the muscle, but they're not working on getting their brain to tell the muscle to work better, essentially. So they're doing the wrong thing to improve their movement. They're just working on hardware. They're not working on their software. So for you, I mean, I can't really say that, but for the majority of people, if they're having a hard time getting down and touching their toes, it's a software issue. Or we can at least improve it to an extent by working on their nervous system, their brain telling their body what to do.
What about, this is something that people can relate to, especially the younger crowd. People that are trying to do squats and trying to focus on their glutes. A lot of them don't have what we call glute activation, and they mostly focusing on like their quads. Is that a good way to? Is that something that?
Sure. If one muscle doesn't work right, if your butt's lazy, then you have a butt. Obviously, it might be weak, but it's probably going to come down to your brain can't communicate with that muscle properly to get it to fire. And then it's not going to want to move, right? You're not going to be able to do it right because that muscle isn't working right.
Can I use a bro science term without you getting offended?
Can you what?
Can I use like a bro science term without you getting offended?
Sure.
It's what some bodybuilders would say, the muscle-mind connection. Remember, Arnold Schwarzenegger was known for saying that you got to make sure you have a connection. He was saying it in layman terms. He didn't break it down as good as you did, but yeah, that's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, basically, like it's not just about having the goods, it's about being able to use what you have. And your brain, like people underestimate, like it's not as simple as it seems. It's actually like, this is in pretty layman terms, because you can go way down the rabbit hole with this and it gets very complicated when it comes to motor control. So basically, when you talk about the software system or say you have the hardware, like passively, someone can lift your leg up, but on your own, you can't lift it as high. That means that something up here in your brain isn't firing right to get your leg to come up. So what would cause that? Most of the time it's motor control or it's a lack of stability. So you got to learn to create some stability and to work on your motor control, work on the connection by doing drills, so then you can tap into what you have. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. So my next question I was going to ask you was, how does stability allow for you to have greater mobility?
So every joint needs both stability and mobility. The degree to which just depends on what you're asking that joint to do, the task at hand. So essentially, stability is the ability of something to resist force or resist change and stay in position. So if your body doesn't feel stable, it's not going to want to move very well. It's kind of like thrown on the brakes because it's afraid if it goes into these motions that it doesn't think it has control over. Basically, stability is control in a full range of motion, like throughout the full range of motion. So if you haven't proved to your body that you can safely go into that big range of motion without getting hurt, it's not going to let you. And that's where the motor control of your brain comes into play.
Like the deeper squat, right? Like when people try to get to a deeper squat, their core braces itself. Like the abdominal wall braces itself because it's weak.
Yeah, create stability to allow yourself. Stability allows for greater mobility. And just because something's stiff doesn't mean it has stability. Again, it may be protective tension that the body's put on to prevent you from going into a range of motion that it doesn't feel quite safe going into. So that's where drills that go above and beyond just reach for your toes and touch them. But these drills go a lot deeper than that to prove to your body, your nervous system, that it's safe for you to go into these ranges of motion and you not get hurt. Yeah, that's where the software system comes into play. And
so you kind of answered my next question, which is, how do we fix these movement issues? And that is drills. So can we do a quick breakdown of what can we fix on our body? Like, what's a name, like a common thing? Like, I know one is round shoulders and having good thoracic extension, and then we got the hips, of course.
Yeah. Well, first, like my first recommendation for anybody is find a professional that's going to do a screen on you, an evaluation, because you need to figure out what the issue is. And second, my advice to people is don't blow through your warm-ups, because they go way above and beyond just increasing your body temperature.
They wake the body up.
It wakes the body up, wakes the brain up to get you to use what you have. But an example of it, a common one, so let's use your glute, right? Or actually, let's use people not being able to come into full hip extension, okay? So that means at the top of your squat, you can't stand up all the way straight. People kind of leave their butt behind them. So they might not have the mobility in their hips to get all the way tall.
Right.
They can't get their hip all the way through.
Yeah.
So you got to look and figure out what is causing that. And it might be that the front of your hip flexor is actually tight. It might be that your glute isn't firing properly, so you can't get through all the way. So then, depending on what you would find in somebody, you might give them some mobility drills or some activation drills to stretch the front of the hip, to prove to the front of the hip that it's okay to go into that full extension, to get your glute to fire better. So maybe bird dogs, or anyone who knows that, or as simple as a bridge. A bridge is essentially kind of, in a way, it's a deadlift on your back. It's a hip hinge on your back. So priming the movement and proving to your body in a basic, simple environment that it can do it. So then when you're under load, it's able to do it again, and you prove that it's safe.
And for like trainers that train people and they're trying to get this person to increase their mobility, what Erica is saying, or they probably already know this, of course, but is, you got to build them up, progression. You know what I mean? That's basically what you're talking about right now, is progressing them into one time and getting them to a point where the body is, able to do the move.
Yeah. It doesn't happen overnight. Like, the whole point of it is you might do a drill, but then you want to train after that drill. Like, you want to hit save, essentially, is the way to think of it. Is you want to show your body now. So you increase your mobility. You did some drills and you increased it. You then want to do some exercises that allow you to train with that greater range of motion and control. So then your body says, it's safe for me to go there.
Yes.
And when you come back the next day, that mobility and stability that you improve is probably going to be gone. It doesn't stick immediately. But then you do it again and you train again, and you do that repeatedly, and over time you're going to rewire, so that way the right things and the right things give you stability, and the right things give you mobility at the right time, at the right amount. Because again, it's kind of a blend of firing at the right time and how much of what you're using at the right time.
Thank you for listening in on this great conversation with Erica. Guys, if you want to know more about mobility and flexibility, you can reach Erica and myself at info@rukmfit.com. That's info at the letter R, the letter U, KM Fit, FIT.com. Also, I'm on Instagram at RUKMFit. And you can look us up on as KendrickMyrie.com. You can find Erica. She's one of the coaches on the KM Fitness app, so she can help you there too. And don't forget, guys, if you got any questions for Erica, please let's use the comment section. Please comment if you like the information and content, and you want Erica to talk more about what she knows, because Erica knows a lot. Please let me know in the comment section. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. And you guys, y'all have a great one.
Thank you, Kendrick.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.